Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to another fly tying tutorial with Beer River Flies. I asked my followers on Instagram what they wanted to see more of, and got a lot of responses about merger patterns. So today we're going to take this 140 denier black Danville thread and a size 14 hook from Montana Fly Company, and I'm going to tie you one of my favorite merger patterns. This is the X Caddis. It's so easy you should be able to tie along with the video. We're going to start our thread about an eye and a half length behind the hook eye, securing our thread, wrapping back, and cutting our excess free. Now we'll continue wrapping back to the bend of the hook just between the hook point and the barb. You don't need too much real estate to get this done. It's a really simple pattern. Next, we're going to tie in the trailing shuck. This kind of mimics that emerging caddis pattern. I like this for a black caddis. I like this. It's called Widows Web from Montana Fly Company. If you don't have any of this, you can also use Antron, Rayon, Zelon, or any of the other lawns. You don't need a thick bit of it. This is supposed to look like a trailing shuck, like just the skin, the exoskeleton of the caddis. I like to do a little bit looser wraps on this because it does not tie in very cleanly, but it looks great, so absolutely worth it. And if you're as picky as me, you can cut off some of these tag ends afterwards. We're going to wrap all the way back up to the start of our thread and then wrap back to our tie-in point. And if you're as picky as me, you can take your scissors and kind of clean up those little tag ends that are sticking out if you want to. You don't need to. We're going to dub right over this. But if you are a little bit OCD and a creature of habit like me, you might want to get this done. The next thing I do is I measure from behind the hook to the hook point. And this is about the distance behind the bend that I want for my trailing shuck. It's a quick measurement that you can do with your scissors, no problem. Now that we have our trailing shuck, we're going to pick what type of caddis we want to do. Here I'm doing a black caddis. We're going to add some wax to our thread. Spread it out. Want this very thinly waxed. And grab our dubbing. This is a Superfine dry fly dubbing from... who is this from? This is a Wapsi. Shout out to Wapsi. So this is a Superfine dry fly dub from Wapsi. Stretch it thin. We don't really need to dub this body very heavy. We want to thin them out. You're basically just trying to kind of coat up your thread, not really add too much bulk. So apply a good amount of pressure. We'll continue dubbing until we get to the front of our thread base. Now, most tires would probably stop right about here. I'm a little bit anal retentive, and I want a bit of a taper, so I'm going to add a little bit more dubbing just to create the taper. Some people get a straight pool noodle and they're happy with it. I like a little bit of form to the body. A little bit more bulk towards the thorax, if you will. So we can do a really thin dubbing noodle here. You do what you want to. That's just how I like to do it. I'm going to add a little bit more dubbing from the middle towards the front here. Again, not trying to add bulk. I'll probably take some of this dubbing away. There we go. We got a little bit of a taper going now. And just a tiny bit of excess. Always better to add dubbing than to take it away. But is possible and it can be done. Now we're going to grab some deer hair. We're going to cut a clump about the same width of the hook gap. We're going to take a fine tooth comb out all the extra bits. You want to get all that under fur out as well as the shorter fibers. Now that our deer hair is prepped, we're going to add it to a hair stacker. And we're going to tap that against our knuckle and align the tips. With the tips aligned, we're going to pull it evenly from our hair stacker. Grab a hold of it on the opposite end and measure it against our hook shank. We want the ends of the deer hair tips to reach right at the end of the bend of the hook. Pinching it at our tie-in point, we're going to take a couple pinch wraps loosely and then pull up. Take a few more securing wraps to make sure it doesn't spin. And do not trim off the head yet. Leaving these longer fibers helps you manipulate it. So what we're going to do is we're going to pull out about a third of the hair at a time, pulling towards ourselves after each wrap. After the third segment, we'll take a few securing wraps to build a thread dam that helps stick the head up in front. We'll grab our whip finish tool, pulling the hair back, give it about a 5-turn whip finish, and secure. We can now clip our thread free. And since we left the tag ends of our deer hair longer, it's easy to separate from the upwing. We can pull these fibers forward, separating them from our wing fairly easily. We'll grab the tag ends together in a clump, and we'll pull them up tight and grab our scissors to cut the head at the same angle of the hook eye, about an 1/8 inch above or so. Now you can leave it right here, but I like to trim my caddis heads into a square. That's just my personal preference. You do what you like. With our head finished, we can turn our fly to examine the bottom. If there's any hairs from the upwing that made it halfway down the body point, and hopefully not below it, but if anything made it halfway down the body point or below, you can clip these free. After you've clipped them free, you can take your bodkin needle, dip it in a bit of varnish, and apply it to the thread base below your hook eye. And that's how you tie the X Caddis, one of the most reliable emerger patterns out there when fish are feeding just below the surface. That trailing shuck imitates a caddis struggling to break through the film. And when trout are keyed in on those cripples, this fly flat out gets eaten. You'll want to fish it during or right after a hatch, especially when you see trout rising but they're not slashing. Those subtle sips mean that they're locked in on emergers. Drift it drag free, twitch it slightly at the end, or let it swing through a rise lane. It's a versatile pattern that earns a spot in every angler's box. If this tutorial helped you out, hit that like button, and I greatly appreciate it. This is still a very small channel, and your support really gets this video shown to more people that enjoy it. Drop a comment and make sure to subscribe so you don't miss the next killer pattern. We post full fly tying tutorials every Saturday and shorter reels and tips throughout the week. And if you really want to be a part of what we're building here, follow us over on Instagram at Beer River Flies. That's where the most interactive followers vote on upcoming tutorials, suggest fly types, and I answer a ton of questions directly. We also run regular fly giveaways, post behind the scenes chaos, and share the wildest stories from the water. All right, y'all, keep the rods bent and the beers cold. I'll see you out there.